If you feel empty right now, lost, hollowed out, like something in you has gone quiet in a way that frightens you, I want you to stay with me for the next 10 minutes, because what I'm about to share might be the most important reframe you've ever heard about what you are going through. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. And there is a very significant difference between those two things. Welcome. My name is Kat, and everything I share here comes from lived experience. Not theory, not textbooks. I spent years walking through my own dark passages, and what I found on the other side of them completely changed how I understand healing, transformation, and the nature of a human soul. Today we are going to talk about the dark night of the soul, what it actually is, what it is not, the signs and stages of it, how it differs from depression, what the void space is and why you keep ending up there, and most importantly, what comes after. By the end of this video, you will see this experience not as something happening to you, but as something happening for you. Let's begin. The term comes from a 16th century mystic, Saint John of the Cross, who wrote about a particular kind of spiritual suffering, unlike ordinary pain. It is not grief exactly, it is not burnout exactly, it is something more total than either of those. The dark night of the soul is what happens when a version of you that you have been, the identity, the beliefs, the coping structures, the story, can no longer hold. When life or your own soul calls you into something larger than who you currently are. And the process of expanding into that larger self first requires the dissolution of a smaller one. It is not a crisis. It is an initiation. In ancient and indigenous cultures, initiation was understood as a necessary passage, a deliberate dismantling of old self so that something more whole could emerge. We have largely lost that understanding in modern life. So when my initiation comes, and for many people it does come, we interpret it as something going terribly wrong. Nothing is going wrong. Something is going right in the deepest possible sense. So how do you know if this is actually happening to you? The dark night of the soul has some recognizable signs. Not everyone experiences all of them, and they don't always arrive in a neat sequence. But if several of these resonate, you will know. You feel a profound emptiness, not sadness exactly, but a kind of hollowness. Things that used to bring you joy no longer do. Meaning feels distant. Your old identity no longer fits. The version of you that existed before, your roles, your relationships, your beliefs about yourself and the world, begins to feel like a costume you can no longer wear. Everything falls apart at once. Relationships shift, circumstances change. What felt solid reveals itself as temporary. This is not a coincidence. The outer world often mirrors the inner dissolution. You feel lost in a way you cannot explain to people around you. You might look fine from the outside. Inside, you feel like you are navigating in complete darkness. A deep questioning arises. Who am I really? What is this life actually for? What do I truly believe? These questions stop feeling philosophical and start feeling urgent. These are not signs of collapse, they are signs of initiation. The stages move broadly like this. First, the dissolution, the falling away of what no longer belongs to you. Then the void, which we will talk about in a moment. And then, gradually, the emergence, a new coherence, a self that is quieter, deeper, more real than the one that existed before. This is one of the most important distinctions I want to make, because it matters enormously for how you respond to what you are experiencing. The dark night of the soul and clinical depression can look very similar from the outside and can even coexist, but at their root, they are different in nature. Depression tends to contract. It pulls you inward and downward, often disconnecting you from yourself, from others, from any sense of future. It frequently has biological and neurological components, and it genuinely benefits from professional support. If you are struggling with depression, please do reach out for that support. There is no nobility in suffering without help. The dark night of the soul, by contrast, carries underneath the difficulty a strange quality of depth. Even in the emptiness, there is often a sense of something happening, a sense of being on the edge of something you cannot yet see, a quality of searching that feels purposeful even when it feels painful. Depression says, nothing matters and nothing will change. The dark night of the soul says, everything is changing and I don't yet know what I'm becoming. You can feel both at once. Many people do. But knowing the difference helps you respond to each appropriately. With professional support where needed, and with trust, where trust is what is actually called for. Let's talk about the void. If a dark night is the initiation, the void is the threshold. The in-between space where the old self has released and the new self has not yet fully formed. It is the moment before everything changes, and it almost always feels like this. Empty, directionless, strangely still, sometimes frightening, sometimes underneath a fear, oddly peaceful. The void is not a problem to be solved. It is not the symptom of something going wrong. It is a sacred pause between one chapter and the next, and the reason you keep ending up there, if you do, is because your soul keeps outgrowing its current form. Every significant expansion in a human life passes through a void. It is the cocoon stage, the place where the caterpillar has dissolved and the butterfly does not yet exist. If you opened the cocoon at that moment and looked inside, you would see what appears to be destruction. It is actually a reorganization at the deepest level. The void asks one thing of you: trust the process even when you cannot see it. That is the hardest thing, and it is the only thing. I want to share something personal here, because I think it matters more than any theory I could offer. My last dark night of the soul lasted about a year and a half. And during that time, I did not yet have what I have now, the deep inner union with my own soul that guides me daily, that quiet internal compass I have learned to follow. At that time, I was still in the process of finding that. So in many ways, I was walking through the dark without the very thing I now teach others to cultivate. What got me through was something almost embarrassingly simple. I made a decision. Not a grand one, just a quiet one. To notice the small things that still gave me joy, and then to do them. Going to the beach, drawing, reading, staying in the present moment and embracing each day exactly as it came. Some days were harder, some were easier, but I kept showing up for a small joys even when my larger picture was still dark and uncertain. And I trusted. Not because I had proof it would work out, but because something deeper than my fear told me to. It was during this same period, this long, quiet, difficult passage, that I actually finished writing my first children's book, Oscar the Rabbit, Journey to the Land of Green Sun, Atlantis. A story about a curious little rabbit who goes on a quest to find a magical place with a green sun. The book will soon be available also in English, and you can follow my channel in order to find out more about it, or be among the first ones to find out once it's translated. The most sacred place you will ever visit is not a temple or a retreat or a mountaintop. It is this, the space inside yourself, where everything has gone quiet and something entirely new is waiting to be born. Don't rush it. Don't fill it with noise to avoid feeling it. Sit in it, breathe in it. Find your small joys and follow them. Let the process do what it came to do. And then, what comes after? What comes after the dark night of the soul and the void is different for every person. But there are things that are consistently true across countless accounts, including my own. A quietness arrives that is different from the emptiness of a void. This quietness feels like ground, like something you are standing on rather than something you are falling through. Values clarify. What truly matters becomes obvious in a way it never was before. And what doesn't matter falls away without effort. Relationships reorganize. Some deepen beyond anything previously possible. Some naturally conclude. Both feel right in a way they wouldn't have before. A new relationship with yourself emerges, one built not on the old coping structures and inherited programs, but on something more honest, more true, more yours. And in my case, an inner union finally arrived, not immediately, but soon after. A connection to my own soul that is now my daily guide, my compass, my ground. The very thing I didn't have during the dark night of a soul became the gift that came after it. I could not have received it any other way. And often, not always immediately, but eventually, a desire to share what you found, to reach back into the darkness and offer a hand to someone still walking through it. That is why I am here. That is why I make these videos. If you are in the dark night of a soul right now, if you feel empty, lost, and don't know why, I want you to hear this. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are not too sensitive or too much or falling apart. You are being initiated into a larger version of yourself. And the fact that you are here, watching this, seeking understanding rather than simply numbing the discomfort, that tells me you are already doing the most important thing. You are showing up for it. Find your small joys, follow them. Trust the process, even when you cannot see where it leads. And know that what is being built inside you right now, in the dark, in the quiet, in the void, is more solid and more real than anything that came before. If you want support moving through this, practical tools for releasing restored energies that surface during the dark night, for clearing what rises from the body and the ancestral lines during these passages, I have left a link in the description to the Heal Your Timeline toolkit. It is entirely self-guided because I believe deeply that you have everything you need within you. The tools simply help you access it. And if this video reached you at the right moment, please share it with someone who needs it. Sometimes the most profound thing we can do for another person is simply say, I found something that helped me understand. Here it is. I'll see you in the next one.